There are two inherent variables in golf which are quite unusual in sport. One is the terrain. We are rarely likely to hit two consecutive shots from the same slope of ground, maybe on the tee and on the green, but elsewhere, no. And the other one is that we have a bag full of different length clubs, 14 of them is the maximum, and we rarely hit two consecutive shots with the same length of club. So it starts by looking at the posture and the grip to eliminate these variables, or at least to manage them.
Hello friends. Before I get to the details about how to handle those variables, I'd like to take a moment to ask you to consider joining my channel as a member, $5, and you'll be able to shape the conversation. And it's also amongst my members that I choose which videos to answer if I think I can help when you send me a swing analysis request. So I'd love to have you. Thanks a lot.
So we start with the grip, and particularly the left hand. The traditional way that the grip has been recommended to be formed is based a lot on Ben Hogan's very famous golf book, where he illustrated that the left hand could actually hold the club with just the forefinger and the hypothenar eminence, the heel of the hand, and that you would then close the hand onto the club, attach the other hand, and that would be the process. Now, when you hold the club in this fashion and then close the hand, it actually takes the club from what might be an extension of the arm, 180-degree straight line, and actually raises it up to about 150 degrees with a 30-degree separation underneath here. And that becomes a constant. Then you attach the other hand and work, as I've described in another video, on establishing what constant we want with particularly the left shoulder and the chest. Another Ben Hogan idea that the upper arm should be attached. And once you've got those things established, it then becomes a question of what other variables in the posture particularly might be at work. Well, the first one is our normal erect posture. It's normally erect in such a way that our back has a sort of hollow to it. The shoulders are back and down, and we want to preserve that as much as possible. So we have the upper arm against the body, the grip establishing this angle, and we then keep the body in these shapes and tip over. Now, when you tip over, the golf club, of course, goes down, but it also comes toward you, and your legs straighten. Now, there's no sport particularly played very well with the legs like this, although if you look at the art of depicting golf over the centuries, it's as recent as 100 years ago that golfers very often did play with the legs in this shape. It's actually a relatively recent fashion to have them bent in the way we are familiar with seeing it. So as you tip over, the club goes down and toward us, legs straighten, and when the club gets to the top of an imaginary ball, couple of inches above the ground, that's when you use your knees to drop the club and your head straight down. And I say that very specifically because very often when people bend their knees to ostensibly drop down, the club actually goes up and away from them again, and they have to keep crouching lower and lower to get the club on the ground. So we don't want, in bending the knees, for the hips to move forward or the posture with the body to change. We actually want our head and the head of the club and the hands to drop down vertically, and you'll find that takes a little practice. It uses muscles that aren't automatic. Then you've got your distance from the ball, your posture and height, of course, correct for that club on that slope, and you've eliminated a couple of enormously influential variables.